Hi, my name is Aaron J. Marks. You can find out more about me at aaronjmarks.com. I'm a visionary purpose coach and a metaphysical leadership mentor. To my knowledge, I'm the only one in human history who's claimed either of those titles, and those that know me well tell me they couldn't imagine better ones for me. For as long as I can remember, I felt like my mind has worked just a little differently than most people's. At times it's been uncomfortable, but I've begun to see that it's actually incredibly important and that there's never been a better time to share the way that I think and see with the creative and entrepreneurial leaders out there who need to hear it. This is my podcast, A Higher Level. Everything we think, see, and do here happens on a higher level, and that makes all the difference. For some of you, these are among the most important and transformational conversations you will ever hear, and they will fill in something you may not have even known was missing, but something that is essential for your happiness and transformation. This podcast is all about creating a space for these conversations, a place to explore your deepest and most persistent questions about the human condition, a place to dream, play, and muse about the meaning of it all, a place people tell me only I can help them access, and a place of crucial importance for the human spirit and our future as the human race. On a higher level, everything is vast, rich, beautiful, and deeply optimistic. Join me there now, on a higher level. Hi, this is Aaron of aaronjmarks.com. I'm a visionary purpose coach and metaphysical leadership mentor, and this is my podcast, A Higher Level. Welcome. I'm glad to have you with me. And it's been a little while. I can only attribute it to a disruption of energy. Our house is having work done, particularly the floors are being varnished, and so we've had to move furniture into all sorts of places that make getting to certain spots inconvenient, including my little podcasting nook. This is the best acoustics I can find are where I'm sitting right here, so I had to crawl over some furniture. But the last episodes were the guided tour of the 5 metaphysical realms. That's my central coaching and consulting, and then really just living framework, because it's like, when you're talking about coaching and consulting, I don't know how to separate that from life, separate it from the human condition. The 5 realms were sort of the first major insight that I had into a metaphysical understanding that is unique and helpful for people, and everything else that I talk about comes out of those. So if you haven't listened to those yet, go back and listen to that series, because I had a lot of fun recording that series, and that's it's central to the way that I think and guide people. Let's see. I guess I want to catch you up a little bit on how I've been doing, and then this will be kind of another little interlude episode, because I have another series coming up. It's another series of 5 that I'm planning to just kind of bust out right now, after I record this. And this is sort of like these next 5, I call them 5 perpetual paradoxical problems with the human condition. It's another list of 5, but the 5 realms is, the way this sort of the universe is unfolded over big history is a term that I now have that I didn't when I recorded that. And the 5 perpetual paradoxical problems of the human condition are 5, kind of ongoing issues, or sort of dysfunctions of the human condition that we all share. They are what make the human condition, and so by definition we all share them. Now, they're paradoxical because they're unsolvable, and they feel like problems, but without them it wouldn't be the human condition. So we actually rely on them for a good deal of the meaning that we experience. So that's why they're paradoxical, and so we have to learn to look at them the right way, because as far as I can tell, everyone feels them at certain times. And it's like the intuition, what the trouble that you may intuit sometimes is often traceable to one of these 5 perpetual paradoxical problems or dysfunctions of the human condition. And so the benefit of this is that you get awareness of them, so that you can see them when they're operating in your psyche and discouraging you, depressing you, and so that you can flip flip your perspective on them and draw inspiration and optimism from them. That's why we talk about these. And it wasn't until like a couple months ago even that I really had these fleshed out. And there's sort of like I don't know, a commentary that you can lay on the five realms, but they've been very helpful for me, and very helpful for my clients. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into that series. It's I haven't had as much time to talk about them, or as many opportunities to talk about them as I have with the five realms. So they may be a little clunkier, a little less streamlined, but they're actually more significant, I think, than the five realms. Just in a practical sense, in what we deal with every day. We can't escape them in every moment. So I'm looking forward to fleshing those out for you in the series that follows. I've been I've been getting clients. These are entrepreneurs, creators, just fabulous people. People that I really enjoy and respect, and who are very ambitious, very high performing people. And they've just been telling me that they find my perspective and my insights just incredibly helpful for thinking through the energy that they're experiencing, and the kind of friction and the high viscosity of the energy in their life that's preventing the kind of energetic flow that they desire, which ultimately takes them to their visions and goals. So that's the kind of feedback I've been getting. It's been awesome. I continue to attract really awesome, great people into my orbit here. It's not just clients, it's great conversation partners, collaborators, people to create podcasts and books and programs and and speaking opportunities with. This is like just really awesome people coming into my orbit, and it's just really fun, and I'm really grateful for that. And then let's see, I started writing a book. So in January I gave a presentation at my local chamber of commerce, and right at the end of that, a couple people said, "Aaron, you should write a book." And so took a couple months for me to kind of get my head around that idea. And it's like, I never thought of myself as someone who would write a book. But after a couple months, I saw what it was. And kind of how it was like a sum total of everything that I've, kind of learned and see and have processed and think about over the course of my life, and all the experiences that, have made me who I am. And, it's like, I finally felt ready to sit down and write it. And I'm actually, as I record this, I'm very close to finishing the first draft. So I have a personal retreat coming up in the middle of June. Let's see, today it is May 26th, and my plan is to be done with the first draft by the time I embark on that retreat. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. Every time I sit down and write it, I just, I find it to be an incredibly inspiring and peaceful place, and it shows me I'm doing the right thing. So I'm really, really excited to see that come together. So let's see what else. I think I'm gonna get. I just noticed the energy around me shifting in a beneficial way. It makes me really grateful that I stuck with this. It's like when I started it, last summer, it was like give it a year, and you should see. You should land in a different place at the end of it. And indeed, that's how it's shaping up. So I'm really happy and excited and grateful for all of that. So I'm gonna end this episode with the return of someone that you may have heard me talk to a couple episodes ago. His name is Arthur. Still one of my favorite philosophers. Well, he's my youngest son. And sometimes when we're in the car, especially, I notice this. I mean, the previous recording was in the car. This one is too. He'll start talking very philosophically, and it's like with an unusual depth and clarity of insight for someone his age, I think. And so it's like, I'll grab my phone and be like, Arthur, can we record this? And and he's like, yeah. And so that's what happened the last time, and that's what happened this time as well. And yeah, I was just delighted with the conversation that we captured, and he once again gave me permission to share it with you. It ended up being about the fifth perpetual paradoxical problem or dysfunction. Problem is alliterative, but I feel like dysfunction better captures what it is. But it's the fifth perpetual paradoxical problem of the human condition, which is the sublime sublimated absurdity of the ideal of imperfectibility. Like, Arthur and I kind of managed to unpack that and arrive at that conclusion, and then And then I said, well, Arthur, I have a name for this. So you'll hear it at the end. So really delightful conversation with Arthur. So got a lot of great feedback about the first one. So I hope you enjoy this one as well. And then the next episode you'll hear will probably be an introduction to the 5 perpetual paradoxical problems of the human condition series. So I will see you then. Again, my name is Aaron of AaronJMarks.com. And this has been another episode of A Higher Level, which is my podcast. So thanks so much for listening. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, Arthur, how's it going?
It's going
good. Good. So you just asked if I put the last recording of us on the podcast, and the answer is yes. And I've gotten a lot of great feedback about it.
Nice.
Yeah, people enjoyed it. And particularly people with kids say that they've been finding it helpful as a way to think about conversations with their kids. It's a really loud motorcycle there. But anyway, what do you think about that?
Well, how do they find it helpful?
Well, my sense is there's just something about the way that we hold space for this conversation, and I think they feel like I treat you like a mature thinker, who has real wisdom and perspective on life, even though you haven't lived as long as me.
Well, yeah, I think you do.
Okay, yeah. Because I think your thoughts are really interesting, and I think you're very intelligent, and I think that you have to be really careful with intelligence like that.
What do you mean?
I think that intelligence, I think like yours and mine, I don't know, there's something about the way that it's curious, and something about the way that it craves freedom and, I don't know, objectivity, which means it, kind of desires to not get too attached to any particular idea. I think I don't know, there's just something about it you have to treat with respect and, kind of delicacy? That's not the right word. Like, it's kind of delicate, I guess. It can be squashed. It can be discouraged. So, yeah. So, well, anyway, what do you think?
I think you're right.
Okay. But yeah, so people have been, I share it with a lot of people, and they really enjoy it. And it's one of the most downloaded episodes. So, yeah. So, yeah, they like it. They like listening to you.
So we were talking about the human condition, and like solving problems is like what we strive for. So
let's set it up, because we were just listening to a song, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's called "The Question" by the Moody Blues. I've been playing the best of the Moody Blues in the car for the last, I don't know, couple weeks, and we've all been getting to know the songs a little bit. So the opening line, and you were asking about the opening line. It's like, why don't we ever get an answer when we're knocking at the door? And you're like, I always get an answer when I knock at the door. And I said, well, Arthur, it's a metaphorical door. We've got to listen to the next line. So the whole opening is, why don't we ever get an answer when we're knocking at the door with 1,000 million questions about hate,
death and war.
Hate and death and war, yeah. And as soon as you heard that, you were like, oh, okay, it's asking what? What's it asking?
Well, like, why don't we ever get an answer on why that happens, and like why we do that?
Yeah, and why it's like we can't stop doing it, right? Well, death, I guess people are working on the aging thing, but
death it's very important.
Yeah, and that's a big conversation. But why do you think death is important?
Well, overpopulation is one,
okay,
which would cause even more death. But
well, so you're saying, like, if no one ever died, we would just keep filling up our very limited space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that would cause further problems, is what you're saying,
yes.
Right? Yeah.
If there wouldn't be enough food and stuff.
Right.
Water.
That's interesting. Yeah. And these all open up, like, much bigger conversations. But
Yeah.
What about hate? What's the deal with hate, do you think?
Well, do you think it's an emotion?
Hate? An emotion.
Or a feeling?
Good question. I haven't really thought about it. That's a good question. I'm not prepared to answer this in the moment. But I don't know. War, I guess we were talking about. Maybe let's skip over hate. So
yeah.
War.
Well, war is about solving problems.
War is about solving problems.
And that's what humans want to do. They always want to solve problems.
Why do you think war is about solving problems? I'm going to drive around a little.
What do you mean?
Well, in what way is war about solving problems, do you think?
Well,
I'm not disagreeing. I just want to hear you.
In World War II, for example, like Adolf Hitler, he wanted to solve Germany's problems of like bad economy, bad not a very good army, the mistreatment they got after the ending of World War I.
Right. Yeah.
He wanted to fix that.
Did he, or did he just want to rise to power by exploiting people's displeasure with it, do you think?
Maybe, I think... That's a good question.
Yeah, and I don't fully know the answer. Maybe a little both, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just that kind of person. But I understand what you're saying, though. It was... because Germany was really in a really bad way at the end of World War I, right? And so that was a major problem for them. And so they were like, well, maybe war is a way to solve it. Sure. Yeah, I don't know. So there's this sort of perennial imbalance of power, right? Mm-hmm. Politically, and that's what war is a response to. And so that opened up something else. Yeah, war is a huge question, but what else? Why do we continue to have wars? And you answered in a specific way. It was kind of what we started with, right? What did you say?
Because we want to keep solving problems.
We want to keep solving problems. And why do we want to keep solving problems?
Because that's what the human condition. That's what humans want to do. That's why we want to exist, is to solve problems. If there were no problems to solve, then why would we even be here? What would there be to do?
Yeah. It's funny, right? It's funny that it's just there aren't really any other animals of whom you could really say this, right? But it's humans are sort of problem-solving machines. We're here to improve our own condition, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're here to do. And then I said, and the funny thing is that we bring other people into the system. We have children, and a big part of loving them is helping them define the problems that they're here to solve, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And therefore, what do you conclude from that?
That we always want to solve problems.
We always want to solve problems, and therefore, we what? We can't ever run out of problems, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how do you feel when you have that realization?
I feel like I'm doing the right thing.
Okay. I think what I'm asking... Well, what do you mean? What do you mean?
I'm not trying to... I don't know. It's just I'm not trying to solve too many problems at all.
Okay.
I don't want to solve big problems that will eventually make it so that we don't have to solve them in the future.
Ah, okay. But the way that you're speaking sort of assumes that that there are some big problems to solve, and then we'll be out of problems to solve. Do you think that's true?
No.
Okay. It can't possibly be true, right? Mm-hmm. It's something that we're discerning about the structure of reality, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think what I'm asking, and this is a big thing I think about. I have a philosophical concept that I've created to describe this, but
what is it?
I'll tell you in a second. But I want to explore your feelings a little more first. So, I just brought you to the realization that that humans basically can never run out of problems to solve, right? Mm-hmm. And that we will never run out of problems because we can. I'm asking, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? When you think about the future, when you think about the human experience, kind of proceeding endlessly as far as we know into the future, and it's like, oh, there's always going to be problems there to meet us. How does that feel to you?
It feels great. There's going to be more problems to solve.
Okay, good.
There's like, if there's more problems to solve, then we're going to be happy.
Okay, good. Even though a problem is something that we typically associate, like like associating happiness with problems is not, like, it seems a little counterintuitive to me.
But like, deep down, we all want problems.
Deep down, we all want problems, right?
Even if we just don't see it.
That's a funny thing, isn't it? Mm-hmm. You want to know the concept? You want to know my philosophical concept?
Yeah.
It's the sublime sublimated absurdity of the ideal of imperfectibility.
How long did it take you to make that word?
I don't know. I mean, this has all been kicking around in my head for a long, long time. Do you remember that first podcast that I recorded? Like back in 2021, Thinking Harder, Hardly Thinking?
Yes.
All the seeds or all the elements were there. I just didn't have a way to sum it up so quickly. But that's a good question. But anyway, did you understand it?
No.
Okay, so the sublime sublimated absurdity of the ideal of imperfectibility.
Oh.
Let me work backward, because you basically expressed all of that in your own way. So
actually, that makes sense.
Does it?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. So sublime sublimated absurdity of the ideal of imperfectibility.
Like, you want imperfections.
Correct. So that's why it is the ideal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's counterintuitive, because we think of the ideal as problem-free, but I'm saying...
And it's also absurd that it's like that.
It is absurd that it's like that. And then it's sublimated, right? Do you know what that means, sublimated?
No.
Okay, sublimated means when you have a problem that you're not aware of, and it causes you to do irrational things. Okay? So in other words, I think people have a contradiction around this that they haven't reconciled consciously, and so they feel bad because of it.
Oh.
Okay, so like that feeling, when I asked you how does it feel to realize that, and you said it feels great, because we'll always have problems, right?
Yeah.
That's a counterintuitive thing, right? It's an unusual conclusion to come to.
Yeah.
What I notice is that people rage against problems, even though they actually love having them.
Yeah.
Okay, right? You get that? So that's the sublimated part. And then what's sublime about it? What do you think?
I don't... what does sublime mean?
Sublime means like extremely beautiful in an elegant, sort of transcendent way. So what would be sublime about this?
It's like... I don't know.
So when you think about the human species unfolding over time, right? Yeah, depending on who you listen to, we've been here hundreds of thousands or thousands of years.
Yeah.
Everyone having kids, right? And we bring them into this system, and we're like, okay, we've been taking care of this during my generation. Now it's your turn, right? Now you need to solve problems too, right?
Yeah.
And so the whole thing moves forward, right? That's what's sublime about it.
Oh.
And it all taps into this energy of the human spirit and the human potential, So that's the sublime sublimated absurdity of the ideal of imperfectibility.
Such a crazy word.
Well, I enjoyed that, Arthur. Yeah. Time for dinner, huh?
Yep.
Okay. You want to say goodbye?
Yep. Goodbye, listeners.
All right. Thanks for talking to me, Arthur. Thanks so much for listening to A Higher Level. I hope that got you seeing, thinking, and acting just a little differently. Or maybe even a lot. When you act differently, you get different results. But we need to start with the vision and the thinking. How do you feel? Ready to go and make positive, inspiring changes in your life and work? If so, it means what we're doing here is working, and I would love for you to let me know if this is you. There's a bunch of ways for you to get in touch with me. You can go to my website, aaronjmarks.com, or look for Aaron J. Marks, Visionary Purpose Coach and Metaphysical Leadership Mentor on Facebook, or you can look for Aaron J. Marks on LinkedIn or Instagram, whatever is easiest for you. And if this is speaking to you, I might suggest that you think about becoming one of my leadership coaching clients. In our work together, we'll have conversations on this level, but tailored just to your life and aspirations. You really can't imagine what a difference this can make for your mindset, vision, and results. The first step after learning more about my approach is to book a free, no-obligation discovery call, both of which you can do at aaronjmarks.com. If your intuition is nudging you, don't wait any longer. It is likely the next step along the marvelous journey of wherever you are here to go and whatever it is you are here to do. And I can't wait to meet you. Thanks again for listening, everyone. I'll see you on the next episode when we'll continue to see, think, and act on a higher level. I'll see you then. A Higher Level is the official podcast of Aaron J. Marks, visionary purpose coach and metaphysical leadership mentor. Learn more at www.aaronjmarks.com. A Higher Level is written, recorded, edited, and produced by Aaron J. Marks. Music is by Arye. I'll see you next time on A Higher Level.